Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Our guest of today is Cindy, and she's the founder of Catalyst Leadership. And yeah, Cindy, why don't you tell a little bit more about yourself and what the company is doing?
Absolutely. So I'm Cindy. I hail from Canada. I've been moved to the UK for a 2-year stint, and that was a very long time ago, and I'm still here. After spending 20 years in the corporate world, working my way from entry right up to top table, I decided I wanted to help other people maneuver and navigate their way through either redundancy or through going up the ladder with their career within big corporations and small ones. So I work with startups, with medium and large corporations, and most of them are at director and above. And the mission is I want them to stand in their power. I want them to be able to articulate their value that they're adding to the company. And I want them to feel confident to be able to achieve the goals that they set out to do. So my company started as Cooking Up Success, and we're just about to do a rebrand, and that will be Catalyst Leadership by Coaching and Facilitation by Cindy Etsell. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
I want to say I love your vision because there's a lot of founders watching the podcast, and a lot of times we're thinking about strategy. How can we get more ROI? How can we grow? But what you're saying is you're actually going one layer deeper. How can you stand into your own power? Because if you actually stand into your own power as a human being, you can perform the best what you can do at the job you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. And for me, it's about people and helping one person at a time achieve that. Because to me, that's what success is for me personally. And it's getting them to do it in different ways and using different techniques in order to make that a reality and happen, of course.
Very nice. My question to you is towards all the people and companies you are serving, are you actually serving individuals? Are you doing companies? Is it B2B or B2C?
It is sometimes B2C, sometimes B2B, and sometimes C2C. So it's a mix, but a lot of what I do is individuals, but within companies through another platform as an associate.
And throughout your experience, do you see a pattern in which type of company benefits the most of what you are doing?
It's that's a very big question. It will really vary, and I think what it varies is for those companies who want to get the best out of their people, who owners and whether they're small, medium, or large, but who really want to create a dialogue with their staff, and they want them not just to become working as a good team, but to be exceptional in the leaders of the future. For me, that is what I'm passionate about. Because a lot of companies at the moment, and it's hard times at the moment, and financially, emotionally, trying to get our ducks all lined up in a row to drive that success and whatever we define that to be. So they've got to be open, and they've got to be open to hearing what someone has to say. So for me, it's about guiding. I never tell someone what they should do. What I'm trying to do is get more managers think about how they can show versus tell, far more buy-in from their people. So it's about opening that door, basically, that dialogue to achieve success with their teams and my mission.
Cindy, out of all the companies and people you are serving, in your experience, what do you see? Which kind of company benefits the most from what you are doing?
I think the type of companies that benefit the most, regardless of size or regardless of location, is the openness of the leaders of those organizations to want to create a dialogue with their teams, not just to build a team that works well, but to build a team that's going to be the leaders of the future. So that dialogue is vital, absolutely.
And what you're saying is a very specific kind of leadership who really cares about the well-being of the people who are in their team. And I'm just curious, because you're saying this right now, do you see this kind of leaders? Do you see they're working in a specific kind of industry, or could it be all around?
Well, I've worked across quite a few industries personally in those organizations, and I would say there's a real mixed bag. There's those companies that invest in training and leadership, and they identify talent, and they want to make sure that talent is going to get to the next level. And they allow those people the room to actually pursue that. You can invest in a program, but if those individuals can't seem to step back from their workload to take time for them, that creates problems. We get a real mix of different organizations who mean well. Finding that work-life balance, finding the time management skills is absolutely vital. If that really answered the question. I mean, a lot of companies, I work across FMCG, pharma, banking, tech companies, and much smaller ones, the new startup payment, different types of payment methods, all of the different companies that work with, and then individuals. It's all about attitude and the ability for those individuals to take hold of what's being offered and run with it.
All right, and I'm curious. The answer might sound obvious, but I think there are many benefits from what you're doing. And what do you see is the biggest benefit if someone is working for a company and he completely stands in his own power?
Wow. They fly. It's absolutely amazing. What I hear, the feedback I get from whether I have private clients or clients that I do associate work with, is that many of them they don't feel confident. They might have a lot of people with imposter syndrome, or people thinking, I don't even know what to say or how to influence anyone. And they're not they're not being their best self. And there's exercises about how can you document your successes, but also when you're documenting those, make sure you understand the value that you've added to the bottom line of the business. Not just you're doing your tasks that you've been told to do, but what impact does that have on the team and then all the way down the bottom line? And you think about how a company measures themselves, there's a whole bunch, but we know revenue, pipeline, time to market, competitive advantage, efficiency, process improvement, etc. If you're able to showcase how you add value in those from a numerical way, might not be exact, but around about approximately, it's game changing. Something about when we talk about numbers, people listen.
And let's say in your experience, like towards growing this leadership towards where it is right now as we're speaking, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced towards growing the company towards where it is today, and how did you solve those challenges?
I would say market saturation. So there's a lot of people now out and everybody wants to be a coach. That's why I like the word catalyst. It's about if you want to be a star, you need to be able to have someone who's been there and done it. There's lots of competition. Budgets have shrunk a bit. Pockets are a bit tighter. It's about investing in yourself as well, making sure that you take the time and you recognize that if you invest in helping yourself grow and learn, that you're going to get much further ahead. But I would say market conditions, lots of saturated market, much more so than it ever used to be. And it's also just about getting to the decision makers and getting out there. When you're busy and there's much noise on LinkedIn, which is really my main go-to market, I do a lot of networking and that helps hugely. That's really what draws a lot to the business. And a lot of people are terrified to do that. So I help them understand how to network as well.
I love how you're saying catalyst, right? About surrounding yourself with people who are there. Like there's an important saying, you are the person with the 5 people you surround yourself with. And although these kind of things, it sounds maybe really cheesy, it's super important because if you want to go toward, you have your North Star and you have the direction where you want to go, but you don't surround yourself with the right people, it's very difficult to be at the best possible version of yourself you can be, right? Especially if you're in a company.
Absolutely. And it's also about the people you surround yourself with outside of work, isn't it? It's about people who are positive, who are going to help you be the best you can be, who will absolutely give you feedback when you need it, but done in a very consultative way. You get the point. And that's the other big challenge. A lot of managers are afraid to give real feedback. They're afraid to, because some of it's really difficult feedback. I was thinking, asking the question about how do you think you're doing? If you could change one thing on how you address that issue or that problem, how would you approach it differently? Being that really consultative, for me, I'm all about common sense and being really practical as well.
Very nice. I love what you're saying with the feedback, because if you're not able to give feedback, there's going to be no learning curve. And where there's no learning curve, there's no way to ever grow.
It's also about taking that feedback in the way it was intended. That is crucial as well, isn't it? And it's about how we relate to each other. Yeah, to help. And I think there's not enough people who are helping others. It's not about, as a senior manager and a leader, it's about recognizing, for instance, how can I use technology? I can use AI to improve efficiency. I can use it to manage my time better. There's lots of things that I can do, but it's never going to replace that empathy that a human being has, that ability to network with others, that ability to hear. But it can certainly make some of the stuff we're not really love doing much easier. We find the time to invest in our people and ourselves to take that on board. So important.
I love that. And what are some of the ways how you guys are acquiring new customers at the moment?
Majority of my customers have come through word of mouth. Some of the following up with contacts that I've had over the years. It's also about using some social media to find the segment of the market, but also telling a true story, not pushing something, but really just trying to appeal to people. And that appeals for the coaching, but about doing bespoke workshops in the workplace on resilience. And I do a lot on nonverbal communication, which is important. Are we coming across without the spoken word? And also about going to specific networking events, going to events where there are individuals that I might be way out of my comfort zone. I'm going to learn something. And that's how most of my business comes.
And I like what you're saying. I don't want to push, because you don't want to be this kind of people with this kind of needy energy and pushing people away. But you want to be confident about the value you are giving, that you're able to pull people in. You're
Yes.
attracting instead of chasing.
Absolutely. So you're creating, as we would say, marketing that pull. And having worked in sales, and I still consider myself a professional salesperson, it's always about the solution sale. It's always about the needs of the client and how I can help them meet those needs. And if I can't, I will pass it to someone else. So I've got a great network of associates that if I don't have that specific skill or someone in my team doesn't, then we would absolutely recommend somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. It's never about pushing, but actually about understanding the person. And from understanding the person, kind of see if you can actually genuinely help the other person.
Yeah. This is gonna come from the heart, doesn't it? It's gotta be that sincerity. And I'm all about being real. It's not about I'm gonna tell you the truth, but I'm gonna tell you in a very nice way. And if we set goals together, and I will offer some frameworks, some practical tools to help people. And then but I never want to do something that's going to make them have to work even harder. I want them to work smarter. So they can integrate it really easily into their day to day work. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But those who are willing to test it usually find an amazing benefit.
Very nice. It's not even about like I heard this like amazing saying a while back. Let me know what your thoughts are. It's never about helping the other person. It's about providing enough value towards the other person. The person can help themselves.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. And don't be afraid. I mean, I think many people are afraid to fail, afraid to make a mistake. And I always think about the failures that turned into amazing. I always think of, is it Bell who said, I haven't failed 10,000 times. I just haven't got it right yet. And I always think about that. If we never make a mistake and we never fall on our knees, we never end up learning and moving forward. As long as we keep learning from those experiences, of course, that's pretty important.
You're failing, learning, and you're rolling forward along the way.
Yeah, like a somersault. You do a little somersault. And it's that sheer nature of moving forward that is going to help us stand in that power and build our confidence, without a doubt.
I love that. And did you watch or did you read the books of Harry Potter?
Every single one. Love them.
Same as me. When I was young, I read them all, and every time I was reading them, it felt I was in a different world. And my question to you is, let's say you can hold the magic wand of Harry Potter for just one day. And with this magic wand, you could solve any problem in your business in just a couple of seconds. What kind of problem would you choose with this magic wand of Harry Potter?
That's an unfair question. What would I choose? I would choose the ability to help more people, to make a difference. I think if each one of us helps one person, you can change the world, and for me, it would be able to reach more people and get them bought in and moving forward. It's not even about selling something. It's about helping people experience and change their lives, really. Helping them, as we said, like the somersault forward.
Yeah. I love it, and I love what you're saying with a snowball effect, because you're helping one person, and if this other person is getting into their own power, from this energy, he's going to help other people. And then you kind of create a snowball effect with just helping one person.
I remember there was a certain company, and you probably remember who it says, who had an ad. You touch one person in 1 minute and so on, and you will create that effect, the domino effect, all the way through, which is powerful. I mean, that's my mission. If I can change one person's life and help them change others, then that's what I believe I was put on earth to do.
I love that. And let's say for the founders who are watching this podcast, and everyone who's watching this podcast right now, if you could just give one piece of advice, the people who are listening to the podcast right now, they can start implementing it straight away after they start watching. What kind of advice, with all the knowledge you've gained along the years, what kind of advice would you give to these people who are watching the podcast right now?
This is going to sound a bit hokey, but the best advice was ever given to me was PMA, positive mental attitude, that positive mental attitude. If you've got that positivity, and I don't mean being everything the Pollyanna effect, but having that positive mental attitude is going to change the game for you. Because we have two choices. We can either be miserable, and the only thing we're in control of anything is the way we respond to any given situation. And when we have free will, we can do that in a much easier way. That would be is attitude, is having that positive attitude, because it's 99% attitude, only about 1% aptitude. Keep going. Don't let them get you down.
And I love how you're saying that, where you either have two options, or you're being positive, or you're being miserable. And I think like that in life, you either start living, you're going towards like living your life, or you're slowly dying. There's no kind of in between in there.
No, there's no end. We only get one life. And what did I've just lost his Oscar Wilde say? He said, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Embrace the quirkiness, what makes you different, and don't let anyone rain on your parade, basically.
Yes, I completely understand. And for the people who are watching the podcast right now, what are some of the ways they can connect with you or Catalyst Leadership?
They connect with me on LinkedIn would be absolutely great. Quickest way, I'm using LinkedIn. I'm on there lots. Or they can get in touch on Cindy at cookingupsuccess.com.
Very nice. Thanks, Cindy, for being here, for sharing all your values,
Pleasure.
sharing about your lessons, about being the best version of yourself. I loved it. For the people who are watching the podcast right now, I'm going to make sure to put the links of Cindy and the company down in the description below. You can easily find it. And everyone, thanks for tuning in and see you in the next episode.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.